Hi, everyone. We are going to go over week 4. Hard to believe. At the end of week 4, we are halfway done with the semester. You submitted your first essay already, which was personal narrative, and now we are going to focus on an essay called rhetorical analysis and the tools, rhetorical tools. So let me share my screen really quickly, and I want to go over some items with you. At first glance, don't be too intimidated. It looks like there's a lot of stuff. There are a lot of resources, and you may need them all, or you may only need some, depending on how familiar you are with the elements of rhetoric. But essentially, you're going to be learning about the rhetorical triangle, the elements of the rhetorical triangle, and we're going to apply them in a rhetorical analysis essay. So I do want you to read chapter 3 in our textbook, and it's pages 11 through 24, and review all the items in the resources as you need them, okay? And so in the resources, right away, I give you the rhetorical analysis essay instructions. This is the next essay you're going to be working on. So I gave you the instructions right up front so you know what you're going to be going for in this essay. You know what's going to be required, what is all of the areas you're going to have to address within the essay, because that way, if there's something that, well, I'm not really sure what she means by Jib Fowles or Jib Fowles' cultural desires, you can click into a resource and review those items to help familiarize yourself. And as always, I have a grading rubric provided for you. And then, of course, MLA basics. Now, again, I'm hoping you don't need this, but if you do, I want to make sure you have it. We've been working MLA the entire time. So MLA document design should be pretty familiar to you. We are going to be adding another element in this essay, which would be citations, but all of the other basics of MLA, I'm hoping at this point you're becoming comfortable with. And of course, there is our textbook. We have 2 different textbooks. This is the link to one of them, as I mentioned up in the resources, okay? So there's your link. And then thesis work. This particular information talks about how can you set up a thesis for the rhetorical analysis. Now, we've done thesis before. This is not new because you had to have thesis for narrative essay. However, we are going to get a little more detailed and make our thesis a little bit more advanced in this one. It is going to be a 3-sentence thesis, and so you can see it's quite a bit longer. So our thesis is going to be a bit bigger than in our prior attempt. So what I've done is I've given you a little bit of a formula to follow, applying it to this particular assignment. And then logos, ethos, and pathos. This is a cartoon. It just, I think, is a very simplistic, direct way to help you understand the elements of logos, ethos, and pathos, all 3 of which you're going to be writing about and addressing in your essay. Now, this essay, the rhetorical analysis essay, in the instructions, as you're going to find out, basically you're analyzing an advertisement. So it needs to be an advertisement of some sort. And you need to explore, okay, what elements of logos are they using, what elements of ethos, so on and so forth. I also have provided a nice Prezi presentation going over ethos, pathos, and logos to help you understand those elements. And I've also given you a document regarding logical fallacies. So although they may use elements of logos and logic to try and persuade you, fallacies means quite often there are errors in that. And if you can find those fallacies, that helps you discern the what they're trying to persuade you better. And then, of course, part of understanding our 15 basic appeals used in advertising, and this came and originated out of Jib Fowles. So this is a document explaining it. And then there's also a nice video talking about those elements. And then I give you some samples of media kits. These are media kit examples of what ads and how to find information about your ad in the media kit online. Of course, here's a link to our other textbook. And then I refer to the art of the ACTs in your writing, and this describes that. Purdue OWL also gives a nice sample paper using this. And then just an activity of decide the appeal. So again, you may not need all of those resources, but they are available for you to come in and out of as you feel you need support in understanding information. So what I've done is I've given you 2 sample essays. There's one on a nail advertisement and one on a Starbucks advertisement. So you can see how this essay looks in the end. Both of these were high-level essays. They were done very well, and though they will not be perfect, they have elements that were not 100%. However, they're very well done and good examples, so you know how to model your essay as well. In the activities and assignments, it looks like a lot, but it's all building to get you an understanding of the concepts so that you can effectively write that essay. So the first 2, Art of Rhetoric, interactive video, and Rhetorical Tools, interactive video, these are H5P, which means a video will play, and during the video, it's going to ask you questions, and it's embedded right in the video. So you click the button, and it's going to play, just like now, and then you're going to get screens pop up. So for example, there's a screen that pops up. Let me hit pause there, sorry. But the screen will pop up and it will give you information. And so make sure you read that. It should, in theory, stop and wait for you to click the button to move on. And you'll see during the video there are a series of questions and you need to answer them. This is a grade, so you do want to answer them correctly, and everything is within the video. So if you pay careful attention to the video, and you are allowed to rewind and review and rewatch it, and you can go back and change your answers until it logs it in. So for example, once you click past it, it will take your answer. You also want to make sure on these videos you play them all the way to the end. And then at the end, I think it's going to ask you to submit. So if you don't do that, it will not log in your grade. It will act as if you didn't do it. So you'll know if you submitted it correctly, if you played it all the way through and did everything that you were supposed to within the video, because the grade will immediately post to your grade book. So if you do not see a grade in this video, the H5P, then you know, oh man, I forgot to click something. You got to go back, do it again, or resubmit, okay? And both of them work the same way. So they are both like that. They're not really long per se, but you do need to pay attention. And the purpose of them is not to be difficult. The purpose is to make sure you are watching them and that you are understanding the tools of rhetoric, because this is what you're going to be applying in your essay. Then the next one is a Jib Fowles assignment. And essentially, I want you to read Jib Fowles' essay, which I provide for you in the resources, and then you have to write a summary of his argument. In other words, what does he want you to take away from the essay? What is he trying to persuade you of? And then make sure you use the art of the ACTs when you're doing your summary. I want you to practice that. So make sure, again, in resources, you're looking at the ACTs. What do I mean? What am I talking about? And you are applying that in your writing of the summary. So 1 paragraph, approximately summary using the art of the ACTs, and then an explanation for 2 of the 15 appeals. You may choose any of the 2 appeals and explain them in your own words. Make sure you do use MLA8 document design when you are doing this particular item. This is not a lengthy writing, approximately 2 paragraphs. What you are practicing with this is, number 1, can you do the art of the ACTs? So make sure you review that. Can you adequately understand what Fowles wants you to understand from this essay that he wrote? And then can you pick 2 and explain them in your own words? You may do any 2 of the 15. And then in the next assignment, so we've talked about the videos, interactive videos, and we've talked about Jib Fowles. And then in the final one for this week, it's a thesis. You're going to be writing a thesis statement on the rhetorical analysis. So you're going to be using the form, and you do not need to upload this entire form. You simply are going to upload the final 3 sentences. So when you open this form, this is what we're doing. Sentence 1, sentence 2, sentence 3. We're going through the process of creating a very detailed thesis. We introduced this prior, but this, as you know, our thesis we've been working on with personal narrative, but this is a much more detailed thesis and much more complex. So we want it to be much stronger. You do not need to upload this whole document. What you need is sentence 1, 2, and 3. You may certainly do them as sentence 1, 2, 3, or you may upload it as this style here, where they are just one right after the other. And that is your assignment for this week on rhetorical analysis. So as you can see, for week 4, we have a lot of resources. As I said again, you may want to take time and go through every single one. You may not need every single one. If you, for example, if you're very familiar with logical fallacies, that's not a big deal. Or maybe you're very comfortable with the MLA basics. You don't need to review that again. But they are there for you if you need them. So 1, 2, 3, 4 items this week. The bulk of your time will be spent at this point understanding rhetorical tools and Jim Fowles' 15 basic appeals in advertising. That is our overview for the week. And as I said before, at the end of week 4, we are halfway through the semester. So make sure you're keeping current on your writing. In particular, this one is going to build for that next essay. You want to make sure you have a core understanding so that when we move into drafting next week and you begin building, you have a very adequate foundation. As always, reach out to me with any questions or concerns. Happy to help you in any way. Don't forget, I have my office hours on Moodle page in the Zoom link. So Mondays and Tuesdays at 10, if you want to click in, it's an open room. Otherwise, send me an email and I will be happy to meet with you outside those times. Happy writing.